fellas. Happy to be back for another episode of the Blind Take Podcast, courtesy of bgobsession.com. As always, come find us on all major social media platforms, all major audio podcasting platforms, youtube.com, and with 36 hours into free agency legal tampering, which is the worst name ever. You need to change that. Like, how about you just say like pre free agency or something? I like a lot of big moves, and we'll get into that. One thing I did want to touch on before we got into our moves, the crazy breaking news over the last 10 minutes is that Max Crosby has apparently failed his physical. So no more 2 first-round draft picks going from the Raiders to the Ravens, and no more $30 million defensive end going from the Raiders to the Ravens. Sorry, from the back. I have it backwards. But anyways, Max Crosby is no longer a Raven. Never was. And the Raiders are now up against a different circumstance in free agency with more picks than they thought they would have and less money than they thought they would have. So, kind of crazy. Wild. I don't know if I've ever seen something like that before.
I don't care.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's my sentiment.
I don't care, except for the fact that I'm kind of tickled that the Ravens got their nose blinked. I don't know. The Ravens are one of those. It's really weird. Growing up, I didn't give 2 shits about the Baltimore Colts. They were not a rival team at all. For whatever reason, over the last 10 years, the Baltimore Ravens have become one of those teams in the NFL that I really kind of love to hate because they're right up the freeway. It reminds me of an old school Premier League cross-town, stadiums are 4 miles apart in London, kind of a, I'm kind of laughing a little bit at the moment.
So it's like the White Sox and the Cubs, right?
They're not happy with me, but I don't care.
Derek brought up a point of paranoia before we got started, because we got Adafe Owe, our edge rusher, and I'm glad that he was traded from the Ravens mid-season to the Chargers in 2025, which probably he wasn't his choice. Because if he was with the Ravens still, you have to wonder whether they'd be trying to do some wheeling and dealing, because our deal's not final either. But I imagine even if they wanted to go down that path, he probably wouldn't be open to it, given that like I said, they traded him mid-season last year. So anyway, I said on the board a couple of days ago, keep in mind that these deals are not official until they get signed after the start of the league year. So it hasn't happened a lot. In fact, I don't know if I can't remember it happening, where someone changed their mind, but they do have the right to do that, especially when there's if it's a medical thing. But it doesn't even have to be that, right?
I made that comment. I made that comment in the green room before we came on. I can't remember the last time a preseason trade didn't come off because of a medical.
Well,
it's just kind of mind-blowing to me.
It is.
Max has had now 2 months to recover from anything, and I think he played the last 2 games of the season, didn't he?
You might be right. But it's also not been some sort of state secret that the physical performed by the team doctor is up to the team doctor. Like, they're going to make that as inclusive and as intense as they want it to be. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's what is the other wrinkle in this whole thing is Baltimore. Like, I don't know how nitpicky. Maybe because you're talking about 2 first-round picks, they're going to be a lot more invested. But I've heard in the past where physicals can be very subjective. You know what I mean? Based on who's doing them and what they want the result to be.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, we're already seeing that with the draft, coming up where Caleb Downs. Some people, are worried about his knees. Some people are not worried
Well,
about his.
Degenerative
You're
knees.
talking about-
Is it what I've heard?
So, well, let's talk about shit that matters,
Arf.
like the Washington franchise.
Hey, okay, calm down, sir. All right, but a couple big time moves. As we get on into this, and it's clearly been a slow, patient, steady approach. As free agency tampering period was starting, I would argue the biggest move was getting Laramie Tunsil inked to an extension. He is now under contract through the 2027 season, 2028 season. So we've got 3 more years of Tunsil. Chances are that third year's a void year, but so we've probably got 2 more years as he's north of 30. I think it's a good move. He's the first offensive lineman to eclipse 30 million, if I'm not mistaken, on an extension, which is awesome. I think that was a big bargaining chip for him, as he wanted to be a benchmark. And looks like we'll have him at least guarding Jaden's blind side through Jaden's rookie contract. What do you guys feel about the Tunsil deal?
Well, we had to get it done, and the thing is, I know K-Dog and myself on the board especially have been chirping about that, because until it's done, it ain't done. And we've seen in the past where we've had a hard time, well, as recently as last year. So given what we gave up for him, we had to get it done. I mean, it would have been it would have been just an outright disaster if we couldn't get it done. So, I mean, I was relieved. And I think the fact that I think he serves as his own agent, I think that probably helped get it done, because, you don't have that agent pushing for more, because their cut of it depends on that. So I think we got him for a fair deal. And I mean, he is a great left tackle. So that's it's pretty important.
He's not. I don't want anybody to misconstrue this. He's a top 5 tackle in this league. He's very much in the same space as Trent Williams was. Different skill set, right? Much more of an all-star pass blocker than he is a run blocker. Trent Williams was not quite as good a pass blocker, but a better run blocker, especially out in space. The big man can move. But this was a deal. I'm with John. This was a deal that had to get done, and it had to get done from the moment we made the trade. It wasn't a we'll see. It was we gave this up. We have to extend Laramie Tunsil. The one thing I will say is I've seen a lot of people, especially on the BGO board, talk about we should have gotten this done sooner. Newsflash, kids, there are 2 sides to this deal. You can only get a deal done if the player is willing to put his name on the bottom line. And I don't think Larry Tunsil was willing to put his name on the bottom line until the day he put his name at the bottom of the contract. That's really what it came down to. We could not have extended him sooner, because I don't think Larry was willing to extend sooner. Let's face it, in this league, if you can stick around on an old contract for 1 more year, you are guaranteed more money than you would have gotten if you signed a new contract today. And that's just the way this league works now, because everybody's moving money around, and it's all funny money anyway. But they're all moving money around and adding years and doing this and doing that, but it's to the player's best interest if they can hold off until later, because the next guy that signs is going to get more money. It's just that simple. So for all the fans out there that are bitching about the fact that Peters didn't get this done sooner, Larry Tunsil wasn't going to sign on the dotted line any sooner than he did. Leave Adam alone.
Hey, before we get into the signings, which we've already kind of dipped our toes in, I want to talk about the guys that we didn't get, because that's really the dominant story from the first day. And you guys know, because you're on social, fans have been pretty much freaking out for the last 24 hours.
Yep.
Because we I think all the buildup of how aggressive we were going to be, and of course you can't see whether we're being aggressive, but I think they have tried to be aggressive. But we did go after Alex Pierce really hard, Jalen Phillips, and Tyler Linderbaum, and there's probably other guys not on the list, but those are the big three, probably the top three guys we were trying to go after. Then we were not successful on any of them, and I've talked a lot on the board about, Washington. If Washington's going to win these contract battles, they're going to have to overpay, and they're going to have to overpay by more than a little bit, because I just think we're not, it's going to be a while before we're a destination of choice. And I don't think the DMV is a destination of choice. It's high traffic, it's high taxes. It's not, it's just not it's not San Diego or Tampa Bay in terms of appeal. And we have, a coach that could be on the hot seat, 2 new coordinators. So I just think that's a big factor, and people don't want to uproot themselves or their families unless they feel really good. And so I don't know. I don't blame them. I think it's great that they went after those guys. Personally, of those 3, the Linderbaum one is the guy that I would have paid up for. And I won't get into the whole Biotic thing, but I feel like that could be a weak spot for us because of, we'll have to see what happens. But I don't feel super solid about that center position right now. So I would have been willing to get in a bidding war with Linderbaum because I think he's that good. I think the other guys, Jalen Phillips has been hurt a lot. And then Alex Pierce, that was insane money they signed, him for a guy that, he's great in terms of his average, yards per catch or whatever, but he's never caught more than 50 balls in a season. So to me, that was crazy money what he got.
The other names that you're thinking about are Isaiah Likely and Romeo Dobbs. We were in on both of them. To your point, John, it goes even further that we did offer Alec Pierce more money than Indy did, and he stayed there.
A little bit.
Yeah, but more is more. There's some contracts out there that.
I'm just saying, why would he move? He likes where he is. He's not going to.
No, I'm with you.
I just don't think
I'm with you. But to your point is that you can be as aggressive to the point where you eclipse the highest other contract offer he's got, and he decides not to come here. The Isaiah Likely thing, apparently he was in on the Commanders, but he ended up deciding to go to New York to be with his former head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Linderbaum, while I agree we should go hard, we should have gone hard after Linderbaum, and it does not. And what I'm about to say doesn't excuse the confusion of letting Biotic go and creating another hole, but they're paying Linderbaum $3 million less than we're paying Laramie Tunsil, a top 5 left tackle. Yeah. Like that's bananas, dude.
Right.
Like we're talking about a different stratosphere of paying a starting center. I was looking at some of the metrics of it, and if you're talking about a cap percentage hit, with the increase of the record-breaking percentage cap increase this year, he's making more than 1.5% more than the last record. Yeah. Like he's making $27 million, and the next guy's making like 18.
I'm not saying I would have been crazy to do it. I'm just saying of the 3 guys, if I was gonna go insane and outbid somebody, that would have been the guy I would have done it for.
I get that, but I think this was beyond insane. This was this is borderline ready to be committed. This is dangerous territory when you're paying a center $27 million.
So Peters is getting beat on like incessantly, which I think it's a little too soon to do that. Well, especially yesterday at like 1:00, it was too soon. Guys were wanting to fire him. But let's talk about the guys that we did actually. Get a hold of.
Well, and this was my point on the board that, look, he's not sitting on his hands and doing nothing. He's involved. And if for some reason we can't close the deal, we can't close it. That's fine. But there were things happening behind the scenes that we weren't a part of, and it's quiet on the Western Front, right? There's no leaks coming out of this front office. They're going to get the guys they want. and go after them, make a play for them. I guess we can kind of work our way up to the big ones. The first move that we made was the first signing, actual free agent signing with a corner, Amik Robinson out of Detroit. It was not highly applauded, but the more I listen to people who have worked in Detroit and reported on the team, this guy's a good football player. He's just not a number one corner.
I got to tell you
What?
something funny, because right before that I had said, I was on the board all day because I don't work on Mondays.
Right.
And I had posted, my bar for success is I don't want to have to go to Pro Football Reference and search the guy's name to figure out who the hell he is. And
then like 9 minutes later,
5 minutes of me posting that, we got Amik Robertson. I'm like, who the hell is Amik Robertson? And you guys, maybe I'm the only fan that had never heard his name or not enough to remember it. But I went to Pro Football Reference and looked him up.
Well, from what I understand from him, he's not going to be a guy that flashes. There's somebody put something out there that PFF had him ranked 110 out of 114, but I listened to some people that report in Detroit who are on the radio today, and they say that's asinine. He's not the 110th best cornerback in the league. He was asked to do some things that he should not have been asked to do, because he was listed as their starting slot corner, but he was asked to cover the number one receiver a lot of the time because their number 1 and 2 got hurt. So he's up there going against Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and some of the more premium wide receivers in the league. I don't think that's what he's coming here for. So I don't think people should set that as the benchmark. Also, if you watch the film against Minnesota, he covered Jefferson very well. Jefferson had like 51 yards receiving. You could argue that Jefferson didn't have a quarterback throwing it to him, but he still got over 1,000 yards on 85 catches last year. So it's not like he sucked either, right? He wasn't completely inept. So I think from what I'm hearing that they're going to possibly push Sanders still to the outside, that Meek Robertson's going to be your new slot corner and your third guy, and Amos is going to start opposite, and that's going to give you a more position flex, but he has the ability to play inside or outside.
Yeah, the things that jumped out at me, he's my size. Literally, he's like got 10 pounds on me, but other than that, he's my size. Not a big guy. He's young, 27. All the guys so far are young.
I dare say the body composition is a little different.
Don't make me take my shirt off, Bob, because I will. As you know. He's played in every game. Well, I'll let you go ahead and get your composure back. He's played in every game over the last 4 seasons, which I really like that, and that's another trend I'm seeing. And his completion rate, as far as how many passes he's given up, he's below the league average. The league average is like 64 to 65%, and he's down in this low 63. So I mean, he's at least got average to slightly better than average coverage skills. So, and as Derek said, he's a dog. That's what we keep hearing. He's a dog. He's very physical, very energetic, and so anyway, we'll just have to see.
He's not afraid. He's not afraid to tackle. And he's not expensive. I mean, if we're talking about people were being a little critical about it, but was he getting $8 million a year as a nickel corner? That's kind of what you're paying your nickel corner, especially when your 2 cornerbacks on the other sides are both on rookie deals. Like so the room's not too expensive. The next move that we made, if I'm not mistaken, was. Huh?
Was
trying to remember order. Anyway. Yeah, Owe Adafe.
I was just going to say.
Owe.
There were only 4 of them. We ought to be able to keep it straight.
What are you saying, Bob?
I was going to go back to the cornerback for a second. I like the fact that he can play inside, outside. When he and Sam Ristel are on the field together, you don't know until they line up who's playing where. We could swap them on any given play, inside, outside, and the opposing defense doesn't know who they're playing against. And I love that. As opposed to playing one of the safeties as the you know they're lining up on the slot or the tight end. You know that. So I don't know. I kind of like the move. And again, I love the cost. Whichever one of you guys brought that up. He's not terribly expensive.
The next move we had is Odafe Owe, the defensive end that we talked about on this podcast, as a potential free agent target. He is not the premier number one edge rusher. That's Trey Hendrickson, who's apparently asking for $30 to $40 million a year, which is just absolutely bananas for a guy who's over 30 with a core muscle injury. I don't think he's going to get that, and I don't want to pay that. Owe is a guy who, and I still have my notes from last podcast when I talked about 251. First 5 games in 2025, he had 0 sacks, but then he got traded to the Chargers, and then in 12 games, he had 7.5 sacks, and I think if I'm not mistaken, he was top 5 in pass rush win rate. So this is a kid who's young. I don't have his age in front of me, but he's young. He's coming off his rookie. 27.
He's 27 years old. Yep.
Yeah, so he's clearly in his physical prime. He's in his NFL prime, coming in on a 4-year, $100 million deal, $25 million, $68 million guaranteed, which for a starting edge rusher, actually, as crazy as this sounds, is not expensive. When you're talking about, you know what I mean? When you're talking about the premium guys getting like you said, Jalen Phillips got $30 million for a guy who's oft injured and, you know, a premium at the position. So there's a lot of that floating around.
He's another durable guy. He's played all 17 games, 3 out of the last 4 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I looked up his career stats. He's had 7 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, 34 tackles for a loss, 79 quarterback hits. That's a lot of quarterback hits. And 30.5 sacks over his 4 seasons.
By the way, just another nugget to go back to Amik Robertson. I heard somebody talking about he had 5 forced fumbles last year. I don't think we had 5 forced fumbles by our entire defensive back group last year. So that might be another emphasis is turnover, you know, creating turnover.
No,
something we
lacked.
Huh?
I'm looking at Robinson right now. He had 5 in the last 2 seasons. He had 2 last year and 3 in 2024.
Oh, okay. Still,
I heard Sheehan. I was listening to Sheehan today, and he compared Owe to oh my God, I lost my train of thought.
Montez Sweat. The name
Sweat. Thank you. Yeah. And but a faster, more athletic Montez Sweat. The guy runs like a 4.3640 or something insane. He's another one of that. I don't think we're doing the Rivera thing where we just look at the RAS score, but several of the guys that we brought in are like off the chart on the RAS scale. So
they are big time. Next signing, or at least verbal commitment, was Tim Settle. Mama, I'm coming home is what I posted on the board when I posted that. He's a local Manassas native. We drafted him in, I believe, the 5th round in 2018. Yep. He went on to bigger and better things, and then he ended up coming back.
Virginia Tech boy.
Yep.
He's only 28. So, you kind of think of Tim Settle. I think he's a junior, but I'm not sure. But anyway, you think of him, and, he played, 4 seasons here, 2 in Buffalo, 2 in Houston. So you kind of expect him to be a 30-year-old or older, but he's only 28. So he's still got some life in him. So I don't really I think we all know Tim Settle, and kind of makes you wonder sometimes, these guys, why did we ever let him go? You know, like there's been a couple like that.
Yeah. And he's a big boy, 6'3", 313. I mean, that is a wide body human right there. That is, I think he's going to kind of come in and play your nose. He's another multi-year deal too. It's, I believe, a 3-year deal, and the money's not crazy. If I'm remembering correctly, so he could be a rotational piece. He's not going to be a focal point. He's not going to be an Aaron Donald. He's going to be a rotational depth player who serves a purpose. But I think he's going to be a middle clogging run style. I think a lot of the things that we're talking about, you're going to notice there are guys who play well in run game, if I'm not mistaken. He's another one, and that was a gaping hole we had this last offseason. What were you going to say, Bob? I saw your face turn a little bit.
Yeah, Tim's one of those guys I didn't want to let go the first time around. I thought he was a player we should have kept when he left to go to Buffalo, and I'm thrilled to see him come back. I think we will. All right, if we're making bold predictions tonight, here's my bold prediction. Settles our starting nose for the season. Is he rotational? Yes, but you know what? That's what defensive line is. You're a rotational player if you're on the defensive line. I mean, period. Yeah, you may get 60% of the snaps or 70% of the snaps, but you're out of the game for at least a third as a general rule of thumb. So everybody on the defensive line is rotational. But my guess is Tim starts on the nose. And I'm thrilled to have him back.
Last big move. Am I missing one between yesterday and today? Those were the 3 biggies yesterday, right?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Okay. Last big move filtered out a couple hours ago as we were actually corresponding about whether we were going to jump on this podcast today, and which arguably might be the biggest signing of the free agency period. Leo Chanel, linebacker, formerly of Kansas City, 3-year deal, $25 million, which is absolute steal for my personal opinion, especially somebody. You go back to the RAS score. This guy is just an elite athlete up and down the board. He is nasty when it comes to being able to play run defense, and he's good in coverage. I think this might be Adam Peters. He needs to plant the flag, and anybody who wants to bitch about his ability to negotiate contracts, he can say, well, look at the Chanel deal and tell me I don't know what I'm doing. I wanted Devin Lloyd personally. We talked about Chanel on the BGO Blind Pig podcast when we were talking about some of our free agent options, if I'm not mistaken. This guy, I think this guy could end up being a cornerstone anchor as we continue to develop this defense. And our front seven is going to look extremely different going forward.
Yeah, he's there's some trends here. He's only 25. He didn't miss any games in KC until this past season. He missed 3, was I assume some kind of an energy, but his career stats over 4 seasons, he had 6 passes defended, 3 forced fumbles, 7 sacks, 17 tackles for a loss, and 16 quarterback hits. So he's pretty physical and pretty, I just think he's a good athlete. So we'll see. And I'm just excited that we're bringing in young athletic guys that are, especially Owe and Leo. I'm excited about that. I'm not excited about what we've done on offense. And I think that's creating a lot of angst. So I'm going to go back to what Adam Peters said in his first presser after the season wrapped up. And someone asked him about protecting Jaden Daniels. And his response to that was, I think the best way to protect Jaden is to add weapons around him so that he can get the ball out of his hands quickly and he doesn't have to take off. But we have not done that. We haven't added a single piece of talent. In fact, Deebo Samuel, who was our top offensive weapon last season, is a free agent. He may not be coming back. So you could argue we're in worse shape, conceivably, unless we start making some moves. And I know it's early, et cetera, but Derek was talking about the wide receivers that we kind of swung and missed on. I don't know. I think I'd bring Deebo back for sure now, but I don't know whether. I know there's some talk about Juwan, I think, Jennings, and I don't know who else is out. Christian Kirk is still out there, so I don't know how old Christian Kirk is, but I might be interested in someone like that. I just don't know who else is out there that would really
29.
29.
Mm-hmm. Bob, what do you? Before we move totally on, what's your response to this Chanel move and kind of the overall picture here? Did he freeze?
Or is being very thoughtful?
He is being thoughtful. All right, when he flies back in, internet sucks. I'm not arguing with you on that. I think one name we've been linked to is Brandon Ayuk, expected to be released. They avoided the terms on him in San Francisco. I think he's going to be a very inexpensive option that can be a high upside, low risk, high reward kind of thing. He has been vocal about wanting to play here. He's been referenced by Jaden Daniels more than once. I think this leads to going into the draft where a guy like Jordan Love is now very much on the table and very much a possibility because that guy's just different. I know there's some consternation about it. Some people have mentioned on the board investing. My personal opinion is you don't draft Jordan Love to be your or Jordan Love, Jesus Christ. You don't draft Love just to be your starting running back. You draft him because he has the ability to be Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey or Derrick Henry.
He does, but we don't have we don't have a number 2 wide receiver, man, and a running back can't fill that role. It helps. I'm not arguing. I mean, I'd like to see us add a running back and a couple of wide receivers, but we desperately, we might have the worst wide receiving core in the league right now. We got an older Terry McLaurin who's probably played his best ball. I love him, but he gets all the defensive attention, and I don't know. I mean, we have no one that scares anybody right now.
Bob, are you back with us? I see you blinking.
Yeah, it's in and out. I don't know if
okay.
I don't know if it's my connection or if it's my computer, but I'm with John. At the moment, wide receiver core is pretty lousy, which is not to say that I don't have any faith in Terry. And I'm a big fan of re-signing Burks, but we got to bring somebody in. I'm sure they're working on it. I kind of wanted Doubt, but
yeah, I did too.
Oh, I'm not saying that we aren't going to bring somebody in, but if you bring in, let's say we do get you land Ayuk again as a low risk, high reward type, and you sign Jennings to a multi-year deal. Now Jennings is your number 2. Ayuk can be a weapon, and now you've completely changed the dynamic of the wide receiver. Like Terry McLaurin, Brandon Ayuk, Juwan Jennings, Luke McCaffrey, Jalen Lane, Ja'Cory Brooks as your 6. Like, you feel a lot different about that than you even thought about this past year, right? Like, did I even say Burks? Did I say Burks? I didn't even say Burks.
Yeah.
So
well,
I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and we're not done yet.
Yeah, well, we acknowledge that we're not done yet, but the bottom line is we're 2 days into it and we haven't signed an offensive free agent yet, and that's our biggest need probably on the whole team.
Right.
I mean, other than
a couple big time targets that I think are still out there. I think there was a lot of people upset we didn't get Likely, but John, I think you were the one beating the drum for Chiga Okonkwo, right? Isn't that the guy you wanted I know K-Dog is on the board wanting him. He's still out there. So you wonder if we don't pull a guy like that. And if you pull a guy like that and then you only add one receiver, what does that change with your mentality about the offseason so far?
It would definitely help. I mean, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not discounting what you said about if we get a pass catching. If we had a healthy, younger Austin Eckler type running back, I'd feel a lot better. But right now we don't have. I mean, I guess I get a little nervous that they want to see what like plug Ben Sinnott in as the starting pass catching tight end, and I break out in a rash thinking about that. I don't think he's good, and I would love to be proven wrong. Don't get me wrong, but anyway, I just think we need offensive weapons. I mean, Adam Peters is opened his presser with that, so it's not just me that thinks that. So I don't know how they do it, but we gotta do something. Hopefully, in the next day or so, we start turning some cards over that look better than what we have right now. And that's really, I think that's a lot of the angst. I do have some faith in Adam Peters. I'm not calling for, his head like some people are on Twitter and X, but I do think it hasn't gone great so far, I guess is how I'd put it.
I realize that we're not talking draft necessarily tonight, but I feel like free agency and the draft go hand in hand. And I feel like if you can read the tea leaves fairly well, you have an idea where the team is leaning in the draft. Anybody else here feel like maybe the tea leaves are pointing at Jeremiah Love right now?
Or Carnell Tate, one of those guys. I mean, right now it feels that way.
I wasn't thinking about Carnell Tate, but I mean, you kept talking about a pass catching tight end, but if you've got a pass catching running back, and I don't know that Bill is that guy. I mean, Bill caught some balls last year, but we didn't throw that many at him, as I recall. Jeremy McNichol was really the pass catching running back, right? But Jeremiah Love is a legit dual threat. He's a legit guy that can carry the rock and catch the rock. I don't know.
Jeremiah Love is a legit game breaker. You take Jeremiah Love at 7 with the idea that he's Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey. Like that's a difference maker, and that's the kind of guy. If you think he's just an upgraded version of Krosky Merritt, or insert whatever player you want as a running back, you don't take him at 7. You take him at 7 because it goes beyond what like position value out the window. That's the kind of guy that dynamically changes all aspects of the offense. So to your point, Bob,
and if you picture, you got Jaden that teams are scared to death of, that he's going to take off. You move him more under center, where then it becomes really more difficult to know whether we're about to run or pass. And then you put someone like Jeremiah Love in the backfield. That's insanely scary for a defensive coordinator. So, I mean, I think it would make a huge difference.
Or what do you do if you do a shotgun with 2 running backs and you've got Jeremiah Love flanked by Krosky Merritt, who can hit a home run anytime he touches the football? Like, where do you go with your linebackers? Well, at that point, you just hope.
And I want to go back to something that one of the local commentators said, and I can't remember who it was. John was bagging on Ben Sinnott a minute ago, and fair, John, fair. Admittedly, I'm more pro Sinnott than anti Sinnott, but I also recognize that he hasn't done it yet. But Sinnott maybe more of an H-back than he is a tight end. And you pick up a Jeremiah Love and you've got Sinnott as the H-back, and now I don't know. I'm feeling Gibbsy.
Now you have Mike Sellers in front of Clinton Portis, right? Like that's just that's
yes.
I think that there's more than one way to skin a cat. I think there's still moves to be made. To John's point, we need to add weapons on the offense. And even with the moves that we've made, we still have a lot of cap money available. I don't know that they're going to be the overwhelming. We were in on the top offensive players that were available, and for whatever reason you want to argue it, it didn't come to fruition. We made offers on the big ones. They ended up signing elsewhere, and it's as unfortunate that is. I don't know that you can. If you want to be critical that Adam Peters can't close, be critical he can't close, but don't be critical that he's not doing his job, because he is absolutely involved with everything that us as fans believe needs to happen. And I guess that's my bitch when it comes to like some of the criticisms I see with him, where they're like, Adam Peters, what are you doing? We need X, Y, and Z. Well, he's making X, Y, and Z offers, but X, Y, and Z are determining that they don't want to be here for whatever reason. So I don't think we're done. I could see us ending up with another tight end and 2 more receivers that are not of the top 1 or 2 of the market. And if we do that, and they're still solid contributors with Jaden, and then you have another draft coming up, I like, am I saying we're set? Absolutely not. You've got a lot to prove. But the roster can be upgraded a lot.
And we still have a lot of our own we've only signed a handful of our own free agents. I mean, hell, we have like 20 free agents or something out there.
Yeah.
And the other point that you brought up on the board, nobody else is signing them either, dude. So everybody wants to complain about 5 and 12. It's not like we're letting a bunch of good players walk either.
I'm still hoping we're going to pick up a safety in free agency. Brisker's still out there. I'm just not. I think we could use some help there, but I don't know. Is there any other positions you guys are looking at besides the ones we've talked about?
See, and I'm torn now. Anybody that's watched this pod knows I've been banging the drum for a defensive stud at 7. Now I'm a little torn. Jeremiah Love. But I'll tell you what, I would be thrilled if they took Caleb Downs at 7. Then there's your safety right there.
Yeah, well,
I would be over the moon with Caleb Downs at 7. There's about 4 guys I'd be over the moon with at 7. Caleb Downs, Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, and Bain. Any one of those 4, and Bob's a happy camper.
You know, we haven't talked about this, but it's kind of a bitch having the 7th pick, because we really can't predict. Like, it's one thing if it's a quarterback heavy draft, you can kind of predict a lot more easily, like what position guys are going to be available when you pick, and you can use that to inform your free agency. But we really can't do that. And it's not like we can say, hey, let's not upgrade the safety position because Caleb Downs might be there, or let's not pick up a wide receiver because we're going to grab Carnell Tate, because you don't know if Carnell Tate's going to be there. Or it just makes it a lot harder. Just that particular spot in this particular draft, who knows, anything could happen.
Well, and it's and to that point, John, it's a very weird draft in that 3 of the top 7 or 8 players this year are off premium positions, right? Mm-hmm. Reese and Styles are both linebackers. That's not considered a premium top 10 type of pick.
Right. Downs.
Safety is not considered a top 10 premium kind of a pick. But of the certified blue chip first round players, 3 of them are these not glamorous, not high profile, not premium positions. So it's made even weirder by that. You're absolutely right.
Well, boys, I don't think anybody here would argue that this has been slam dunk home run off season free agency period. I hope that nobody would argue it's been a mitigated disaster. At this point, it's an incomplete grade. I think we've upgraded a couple of positions that we all felt needed to be upgraded. Corner, whether you agree or not, I think Meek Robinson is an upgrade over what we had. Is he the best on the market? No, but he's better than, the days of running back with Mike Davis and Benjamin St. Juste. And some of the absolute nonsense we've had out there. Chanel's a big pickup. I think Owe is a big pickup. As we were entering this conversation, I said and I speculated, and I think John agreed with me, we were not going to find a game-breaking defensive end edge rusher that's going to be able to walk in and guarantee you double-digit sacks every year. It's just not going to be available on the free agent market. Always probably one of your best options, and you had to pay a premium for it while you're not paying top-of-the-market defensive end edge value. I think if we can come away with a tight end and a couple receivers, I think we feel a lot different about this offseason. We're still very early into the process. We haven't even hit 3 full days yet, and there's still some good players out there. We mentioned it earlier. Chigakonkwe is a name to watch. Jawan Jennings is a name to watch. Brandon Ayuk, if he ever gets released, is a name to watch. Some of those other guys. Any other names that you guys have kind of circled that are still on the board and available that you might Clavion Chase on, another edge rusher? Any other guys that you guys are kind of looking at and saying what's going to happen with this guy? I sure the hell like to see him on our squad.
Yeah, I mentioned the guy. I mentioned Brisker. That's one of the guys that I wanted us to take a crack at. That's really the only one I can think of off the top of my head.
I'm big on Jennings, largely because he's an all-around wide receiver, right? He kind of fills that run-blocking wide receiver position that Noah Brown had last year. I would love to see us pick up Jennings. I don't know whether I'm thrilled about the possibility of Ayuk. I feel like right now, and I don't know, you guys may disagree. I think San Francisco is hanging on to Ayuk at the moment to let the dust settle and see if anybody gets desperate because the guy they wanted is gone and they're willing to cough up a 4th-round draft pick for him or a 5th-round draft pick for him, right? And by the end of the week, I expect maybe San Francisco is going to settle down and go, all right, that's not going to happen. We'll drop him.
What about Stephon Diggs? Is he still out there?
Yep, he's available.
I know he's got baggage, right? Doesn't he have quite a bit of baggage? Or am I
want to see.
He's just a diva.
Wait, didn't he? Maybe I'm thinking about his brother. I thought Stephon got picked up on like domestic battery.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hold on, time out. As early as March 26th, felony strangulation or suffocation and misdemeanor assault and battery.
We don't know what happened or that he did anything, but I just don't think we need that kind of vibe. Probably,
you know, one man's felony strangulation is another man's BDSM. So,
I mean, if we fired our best kicker in 10 years, we fired our best kicker in 10 years because he groped a stewardess or said something,
and then he got found not guilty.
We didn't even talk about Moody. I was pissed when they didn't tender Moody, but they saved money by not tendering him and signing him.
Yeah, they got him at half the cost.
Right. That was actually a brilliant move by this front office. They read the market right. They knew nobody was going to jump on him. They didn't tender him and saved money and still got their guy. I thought that was a great move because I actually really thought he kind of brought some stability to the kicking position the end of last season. John, you've brought this up I don't know how many times, and I am so on board with it. The idea that we let kickers go only to become great kickers at some other team. Yeah. We need to suck it up and live through the pain with somebody until they become that great kicker. And maybe Moody's that guy. I'm hoping.
Well, I'm gonna say I know I mentioned it before, but I hope they bring Debo back. I'm like, why would you not? Because if he's not picked up by somebody else, that eliminates the salary issue. I've heard people say that Blau doesn't like. I've heard someone say that Debo's not in Blau's plans. Well, he was your best offensive player, other than maybe Terry.
He's also a wild card. You don't have to make him be the focal point of your plans, right, but you figure out
we don't want him as our number 2, but as our number 3 or 4.
Or not even a number. Just figure out a way. Pay him $5 million. You already pay him 13 this year. Didn't they a dead cap number at 12.9? Give him $5 million or $6 million more to come in here. He, just a gadget guy. Even if he has 600, 700 all-purpose yards, but you just work him in. I would love to bring him back.
Yeah.
You got to think that with a healthy Terry McLaurin back and any type of a number 2, Deebo Samuels becomes a handful for whoever your nickel back is, right? I'll put money on Deebo Samuel against any nickel back in the league because he's going to win that matchup more often than not.
Yeah. All right. Well, so I'm not alone on that. So
no, not at all.
No.
Yeah, I said my bar for a successful free agency, I said it yesterday, is 2 starters who are major, who they don't have to be the best in the league, but are in that top tier category. And I think we got that with Owe and Chanel. And then if we get a bunch of depth behind that, I'll feel really good. And then we just try to do the best we can in the draft. Because I think it's unrealistic to think we're not going to be able to fill every hole on our roster with a young guy who's going to be a starter for the next 5 years. It's not possible. We just have too many.
They're just not walking the street. That's like those guys just aren't available.
Right.
I'm really excited.
And we don't have all of our draft picks. That's the other thing, unfortunately. But
I'm really excited about Owe. My connection was totally screwing the pooch while you guys were talking about Owe, but I'm really excited about Owe. I feel like Owe and Dorrance Armstrong together.
Oh yeah.
Plus whatever blitz we generate is going to be fascinating to watch. And I really feel like Owe is just beginning to come into his own. I totally see the possibility. I mean, he could be a 7.5, 8 sack guy. He could also be a 12 to 15 sack guy.
I'm glad you brought up Armstrong, because when you look at Owe and Armstrong, they're both high motor guys that don't quit on plays. They're not Chase Young, where if they don't immediately beat a guy, they jog the rest of the play out.
Right.
Those guys just go. And that's the one thing when I was looking at Owe's highlights. He doesn't stop, man. He just keeps coming.
Yeah.
Guess what? So does Chanel. So does Luvu. So does McGee. So does and I think this is where they're starting to come into what their intention is for this defense. Like, everybody loved it when Witt said we're going to come fast and arrive violently, but if you look, this is actually what they're building and then that's the Flores scheme, right? We're going to come at you from multiple angles. You're not going to know where it's coming from, and when we get there, it's going to fucking hurt.
And we've heard over and over this offseason they want to get faster and younger.
Yes.
I've heard that like 17 times in press conferences. So I think so far that's exactly what we've done. We've gotten younger and we've gotten faster.
Yeah, I mean, with the exception of the Tunsil signing, and let's face it, even at, I don't know, what is Larry now, 31, 32? He's still
30.
One of the top
right
5.
Now he's 30.
He's 30. He's still one of the top 5 left tackles in the league.
And that,
no, 31. I'm sorry, 31. He'll be 32 week 1. He turns 32 in August.
Oh, the other thing we didn't talk about is Marcus. I'm thrilled we got Marcus back
at a discount.
At a discount.
I don't know how he pulled that off, but $1 million less.
I feel like Mariota is. Honestly, I feel like Mariota is better than a second quarterback. He's not top half of the league, but the dude is absolutely middle of the bottom half of the league as a starter. He could improve 6 to 8 teams in this league as a starter right now. And to have him sitting on the bench behind Jaden and knowing that he and Jaden get along really, really well, I think is brilliant. So,
hey, as we wrap up, can I mention one thing about our depressed fan base? Just remember, it could be a lot worse than not getting everything you want in free agency. We could be the Dolphins, who are going to be writing a check for $99 million over the next 2 seasons to a player that they don't want. And then the Cardinals are almost in as bad shape because they're about to let go
Kyler.
of Murray and take and eat an almost $60 million cap hit.
Yeah.
So thank God we're not. I mean, it could be so much worse than where we are right now.
Yes.
And did you guys see the numbers for Dietrich Wise just came out? It's like 1 year sub 2 million. I mean, it's a borderline vet minimum.
Jeez.
Hmm.
Because of the way the contract's structured?
Yeah. He's costing almost nothing, and this guy's probably going to be a contributor.
Oh, I would say more than probably. The defense last year, there was a noticeable difference in the defense when Wise went out. There were two big moments for me last year defensively. One was when we lost Dietrich Wise, and one was when we lost Dorrance Armstrong. And the defense noticeably regressed in both instances.
Here, I'll read the.
And we lost our pass rush. All
Dietrich Wise, 1.45 million, 75,000 signing bonus, salary is 1.3, cap numbers 1.45.
God, that's theft.
Well, boys, as always, it's been a pleasure. Cheers to you. Happy if you made it this far. If you have, hook us up with the like, share, follow, subscribe, all of the other good things. And come find us at the mothership, BZObsession.com. The pigs are out.